From the heartland of America, focused on God, family, and country, the mouthpiece of the Midwest. This is Dale Carter's America.
Back in the podcast studio in lovely Raytown, Missouri. Hi, Dale Carter, along with Kurt Wheeler. Say hi.
Hello.
Yeah. We're here, brought to you in part by my good friend Bob Watson at State Farm Insurance. We have a lot to get to on the podcast today, and a lot of fun stuff, too, some fun videos. But Bob Watson's a guy who can be there for you when you're not having fun, when you've wrecked a car, when something's happened to your home. Bob Watson stands behind you with State Farm Insurance. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Bundle your home and car insurance. You'll save even more. He's at 7th and Main in Blue Springs. You could reach him at 816-229-7878. Don't let the Blue Springs address throw you, because he's licensed in both Missouri and Kansas. So if you are watching or listening to this podcast from either of those places, Bob Watson can help you out. Auto, home, life, commercial insurance. He does take care of it all. So before we get too deep into this, a lot of new folks are coming to the podcast. I'm seeing that because of my political campaign for the Jackson County Legislature. So if you are new to the podcast and you want to help us spread the word, how might they do that?
Well, there's many ways that you can do that. I'm glad you asked, Dale.
You're welcome.
Make sure to, if you're watching on video, on Rumble or YouTube, make sure you subscribe, drop a comment, drop a like, share the video with your friends. You know, we recently had an scam copyright claim with one of our videos. So we don't really have that issue on Rumble. So if you ever see that the video is not up on YouTube, go to Rumble. It'll always be there. Rumble's pretty good about not suppressing people or being less scammy, you know, and all that stuff. So make sure you're subscribed on Rumble. And then for the audio only version, you can find it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. And then make sure to join in the conversation on the Facebook page and follow Dale's campaign page.
Yes, absolutely. DaleCarter.us. That is the campaign page. Something I'm thinking about here, I would say this off the air, but I'll forget it again, and then it'll go away till it comes back again. But when you do these video clips that go up on the Facebook page, is there a way to somehow put a hyperscript like, you know, subscribe here, or maybe a flashing message that says, you know, make sure you subscribe to get full episodes?
Yeah, I can do that.
I'm just thinking out of the box.
All right, we're peeling back the onion here. Showing you how the bread is buttered. What is the phrase?
I think that works. The bread is buttered.
Okay.
Yeah. So the official launch for the campaign for Jackson County Legislature, again, will be on Tuesday, October 28th at the Funhouse Pizza in Blue Springs. That's the one on 7 Highway. Please come. You know, we're going to have a lot of folks from the podcast there. I've seen the list of RSVP. It is very long, and that is not Jim Dingman's biggest location. So he's going to work with George Ward, who owns that strip center. There's a vacant place next door. I think we're going to spill over into that. So please come. And you can help the campaign by buying the special that we're going to have that night, a large pizza, 2 drinks for $20.26. 2026 is when my election's going to be. We'll be signing up campaign volunteers. We'll have some special guests there as well. We're going to need a lot of help to pull this off and make a difference for the county. And there is some news about the county that we'll get to in a little bit here. But I just want to take this segment here just to try and get as many of you as possible to either come to that event on October 28th, or over the course of the next year, we're going to have a lot of events in Eastern Jackson County. Trust me, if you live in Eastern Jackson County, we're going to be face-to-face here at some point, so I can tell you what my plans are, what my policies are. I mean, if you've listened to the podcast or watched it any length of time, you already know, because I've given you the whole playbook, right?
Yeah.
So, DaleCarter.us, that's where you find me for the campaign on my, on the web. That almost made sense. It was
on
almost
the interwebs.
English. On the interweb, whatever.
Use that dial-up modem. https://.
You know, my stepson, Fauntleroy, he got like this car. My wife bought it from her niece or whatever, and it's a Honda, and I don't know enough about cars anyway. I admit a lot of my weaknesses on the podcast and on the air as well, but I know that my vehicle is black, and I know where the gas goes. That's about it. That's the limit of my knowledge.
Do you know where the gas pedal is?
I do.
And
I mean, I know how to drive.
And the brake pedal?
Yes, I know how to drive.
Okay.
But beyond that, as far as repairing, maintenance and that sort of stuff, I don't know anything about that. That's why I have Tim Porter on my team. He's with Christian Brothers Automotive in Independence. Each location is independently owned and operated. Tim is just an amazing guy. He's a great friend of mine. He's employed a couple of my kids over the years. But I took my main vehicle in because it needed the oil changed, and I got an in-depth report on that vehicle, and they in English with pictures, and it's like, you need to do that, you need to do that, and it all made sense. That's what they do for you at Christian Brothers Automotive. So even if you know everything about the car, if you don't know anything about the car, these are the folks you want on your team because they really take care of me, and I know they're going to take care of you. And they work on every kind of brand that you can imagine. They have 40-plus current certifications, including hybrid and electric vehicles. So if you buy one of those, they'll take care of you too. Christian Brothers, the Independence location is at 19600 East 40 Highway, and you can reach them to make your appointment there. And when you make the appointment, they'll send you a text, and it's the most amazing experience I've had in car repair. And I've had a lot of car repair experience in my life. 816-675-4587 for Christian Brothers Automotive in Independence.
Tremendous people.
I'll tell you, a tremendous guy is Michael Schroer. And I don't know what's going on in the housing market. Everybody tells me it's slowing down, but that guy is selling more houses than anybody else.
He's slinging them, that's for sure.
He's a machine. So if you're in the market, you want to buy a house, he's got great inventory. If you want to sell that house, join his inventory. Either way it goes, you reach out to Michael Schroer at RE/MAX Elite in Lee's Summit. His office number is 816-373-8400. You can reach him on his cell phone at 816-520-9342. What I think is a really good sign for the future, he's selling a lot of starter homes. That means some young people are putting down roots. They're buying a house. I've always thought homeownership is one of the keys to great citizenship because you've bought into it, right? Mm-hmm. You have an investment, your first home that goes into a second home, maybe a third or whatever. Michael Schroer can help you make that happen. If you're adding rooms because you're adding a lot of kids, he can help you find a bigger house. He can help you find a smaller house if you're an empty nester. And if you've got a piece of land that you want to build on, nobody better than my friend Michael Schroer. 816-373-8400. Again, the cell, 816-520-9342. Michael Schroer with RE/MAX Elite in Lee's Summit. Okay, so the recall worked.
Yep.
Yeah. 85% voted to remove Frank. With just the suburbs, the total was 90% against him. I thought that was the final. And I reached out to Sean Smith, and I'm like, how come the Jackson County Election Board says it's 90%, but everybody's reporting 85%? Well, this is part of my education, my learning curve. There are two different election offices. So you had the election office in Kansas City and the election office in Independence. So again, that makes the case for down the road, if we feel like we need to, of splitting these into two different counties. We're set up for it. There's two courthouses. Obviously, there's two election boards. So with just looking at Eastern Jackson County, 9 out of 10 voters said fire Frank White. And then when you put the city in, you would think if he had any prayer at all, it would be in the city. It was still 85%.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty wild.
You saw that he went quietly at first, right? He said all the right things, put out a statement about, how he was thankful for the time that he had there, blah, 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 blah. Then he ran right to the Missouri State Supreme Court and tried to get it overthrown.
I did not see this.
Yeah. He went to the Missouri Supreme Court to have it vacated. He says it should have been at the next regular election, which was coming up in November. So all the money that's been spent on this, and who do you think is funding all this legal advice he's getting? Do you think he's doing that out of his pocket, or is that coming out of county money? I mean, there's a lot of questions that I want answers to, and when I run and when I win, we're going to get in there and we're going to get answers to all this stuff. Who's paying for all this? That's what I want to know. And I don't think anything would have changed. If anything, it might have been higher than 85% because people are tired of all this BS and they just wanted to move on. So the Supreme Court denied his appeal. So I mean, what does this mean for politicians of both parties? I think there is a sense that people are sick and tired of all this. We're going to talk about the government shutdown a little bit later on. I think people are sick of this. They want competence. They want a smaller government. I think that's what we voted for when we voted for Donald Trump, and both houses of Congress went Republican. We want a smaller, more efficient government because, as we've said on the podcast, and I believe this to my core, anything that you bring the government into that is not an essential core function of the government, it's going to cost more and it's going to be less efficient. That's. I don't think anybody can prove me wrong on that. We've seen that in just about everything that the government gets into. It costs more and it's less efficient. There are core competencies that the government has. The military, certainly what they're doing with ICE to try and fix what Joe Biden broke when he was president. There are things that the government should do. I mean, when we get on an airplane, we want to know it's going to take off and land safely, right?
Absolutely.
When we eat food, we want to make sure that it's not going to kill us. So there are things that the government should do. There's a lot of stuff that they're doing that they shouldn't be doing. And I think that's the wake-up call here is that voters are watching. They expect competence in their government. And this county, it's a disaster. It really is. And the rot goes deep. You can't just recall Frank White and say it's all good. It goes deep in that courthouse. And there will be some next steps. The interim executive, have you heard about this?
No.
You haven't been here long enough to know this, but the interim executive who apparently is going to be appointed is Kay Barnes. Kay was the mayor of Kansas City decades ago. She's 87 years old.
Wow.
And she is going to be the interim executive. So I don't know how long. I think that they're going to ultimately come out with somebody who will serve through the remainder of Frank's term, which went until November of next year. I don't think that's going to be Kay Barnes. I would be shocked.
This is her here?
Yeah, that's her. Walter Cronkite's niece, in case you were wondering.
I wasn't, but thank you.
Yeah, Walter Cronkite's niece. She did a lot of good things as mayor. You know, the Sprint Center was
when was
her
she
deal.
mayor? Like in the 1950s?
No.
or something?
2000. I don't know. You'd have to look it up for sure. But the Sprint Center downtown, that was her project.
Okay.
Because we had put too much money into Kemper Arena, and she made a decision that we needed to build a new arena downtown to try and get an NBA team and or an NHL team.
May 1999 through May 2007.
See? There you go.
Preceded by Emmanuel Cleaver,
Right.
and succeeded by Mark Funkhauser.
Oh, yeah. The funk.
The funk.
Yeah. So again, I think she's a Democrat. It had to be a Democrat because they control the seat right now.
Is she better? Is she better than him?
Than Frank?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Because she's actually run a city. Yeah, she ran Kansas City, Missouri.
But did she play baseball, Dale?
She did not. Maybe she played softball in high school. I have no earthly
red
idea.
flag. She
there.
didn't play baseball.
She did. She ran for Congress against Sam Graves, and I'll never forget this because she's not going to be any friend to Eastern Jackson County. She came out to Eastern Jack to speak, and people were like heckling her. It's like, oh, you figured out where this is. It's like you've never visited here before, and now you have. So she's not going to be a friend. I don't think she's going to do anything really other than show up, and I don't know that she's going to be the person to clean it up. I still think a guy like Phil Lavoda, who we've had on the podcast, is a guy who could go in there and basically just right now. It's almost like it's a stove and everything is boiling over. And I think Phil is the guy who could go in and turn the temperature down everywhere. That's kind of what needs to happen here as an interim step. Then I'm asking you to elect me and a Republican majority to the legislature. And everybody is telling me that can't happen, that it's a blue county because of Kansas City. That means all of the at-large seats are going to be Democrats. The city is going to put Democrats on the board, and the executive is going to be a Democrat because you got the city over here and you got the suburb. I'm going to disagree with that because I think there's two things working for us. I think the population is moving east. Places like Grain Valley are exploding in growth right now. Oak Grove, exploding in growth. Lee Summit and Blue Springs are still adding people. So the growth is moving east and the money is east. So I think for those two reasons, if people are as upset about this enough to throw out Frank White with an 85% vote, including the city, because Democrats have gone through this too. Democrats have had their assessments go through the roof. Democrats have had their business assessments go through the roof. This is not a blue and red thing. This is a green thing. So I think the chance is there to give the Republicans a chance to actually run this county. And if not, if I get elected, that's going to be my thing. It's going to be like, hey, we've got the money here. We are the economic. Manny Abarca said that on this podcast. He said, you are the eastern part of Jackson County is the economic engine right now. We have the money. What are you doing with our money? We want to know, right? That's the question I have. And we're going to hold them to account for that. We have the votes to do it. And really all you have to do is look at two things. The recall vote, which we just had, and the stadium vote. Remember that?
Yeah.
We were telling people vote no on the stadium thing. The only power that we had was to deny them any new revenue. That was the only reason I was against the stadium thing, because we wanted to deny them revenue. And it worked. And I think that we have the chance to hold them to account and maybe turn this thing around. Maybe the easier solution is fixing it from within rather than separating. But we will always keep separating into two counties as a back pocket option. If it just becomes untenable, it's like, okay, fine. Let's just go the other way.
Yeah.
So
I don't have anything to add.
You don't have anything to add to that?
No.
And I don't know. People
You're
ask
the
me,
expert, Dale.
People ask me, where would Raytown fall in that? Because the studio is in Raytown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll cut the line. I'm not going to say where we're at, but we'll cut the line just like two
between
blocks
here
over.
and there.
Yeah.
How about here?
Yeah. Right.
This will be the line. It'll be like Les Nessman on WKRP in Cincinnati. You'll have to have like a masking tape little thing on the floor here to separate where the border is. We can do that. That'll be all right.
Great.
Okay. So Royal Roofing and Solar. They, of course, are one of the fine sponsors on this podcast. And, man, they want to help you get that new roof. But they want to dispel any of the rumors that you're hearing that, oh, boy, if we could just wait till the next hailstorm, my insurance company is going to buy me a new roof. The rules are changing there. And some of these door-to-door roof salespeople are lying to you. Don't let them lie to you. Go with a company like Royal Roofing and Solar. In fact, go with Royal Roofing and Solar. They did the roof on my house, and they're ready to do the roof on your house. Roofedbyroyal.com at 816-540-7057.
They have a review from Mark Zarda.
Oh, they do?
Yep.
What'd Mark say?
They were great. We've been having some pretty bad storms the last couple of months, so I called them on Monday and asked if they could come check out my roof. They were here Tuesday and called me later that day to let me know all was good. I didn't need a new roof now, but I can pro use you. Mark, check your grammar, dude.
Yeah,
come on.
Speak English. It's the language that we like to use around here. But that's important though. What they said there was you don't need a new roof right now. Can you imagine going door to door? Oh yeah, you need a new roof. Yeah, I'm going to get your insurance company to pay for it.
Right.
They're lying to you. You want to be
the whole
told the truth.
door-to-door sales thing, with services, I mean, they're literally incentivized to get you to buy something that you don't need. So keep that in mind.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily that in every case, they're going to have a bad product or whatever, but there's an incentive there that is pushing you in a certain direction.
One of the things Austin wanted me to mention to you, though, is sometimes it's better to get a new roof because the monthly payment on the new roof could be offset by the discount that you would get from your insurance company for having a new impact-resistant roof. So it could all work together. So just keep that in mind. Just look at your roof from afar, and if you think it's got some problems, get the folks from Royal up on the roof. They'd love to give you a free inspection at 816-540-7057. Funhouse Pizza, of course, we've been talking a lot about them because that's where our event is going to be on October the 28th at the Blue Springs location on 7 Highway. The bigger location where we've done most of our live events is 50 Highway in Lee's Summit. So Jim Dingman just wants you to know that if you got a big event coming up, a party, a celebration of some kind, have it at Funhouse Pizza. It's got fun in the name. You're going to have a great time. 50 Highway Lee's Summit, 7 Highway Blue Springs. Fantastic pizza, very cold drinks, and and you can order online, go pick it up. That would work as well, or you can dine in and have a great experience at Fun House Pizza. Fun is in the name. Okay, so the government shutdown. As we record this, we're in day number 2 of this thing. I think 38 days is the record for how long one is gone. I think that's right.
Yeah, that was that like 2017, 2018?
Somewhere in there. Yeah. So the blame game is on, okay? I want to break down what's going on this way, because we don't have an actual budget in the United States. We had one. The last actual budget that was passed the correct way, going through both houses of Congress and signed by the president, was 1996. Seemed like a long time ago?
Yeah, I was 4 years old.
Yeah. So they've been rolling with these big omnibus bills and continuing resolutions ever since. They've been kicking the can down the road. Why can't the Republicans just pass a continuing resolution, a continuing resolution, a CR for short? Okay. There are people out there saying, well, you got the president, you got the House, you got the Senate. Why can't you pass it? Well, there's this little word called filibuster. Actually, it's a multi-syllable word, filibuster. Okay. It's the thing that the Democrats actually at one point wanted to get rid of. You know, we've gone through this, right? They got rid of the filibuster for federal judges. That was their big idea. And remember, Mitch McConnell, who everybody likes to make fun of now, he told them, don't do this. He said, if you do this, it's going to come back and bite you in the ass. And here comes Donald Trump. And because there's no federal judge filibuster anymore, with a 50-vote margin, he was able to get 3 Supreme Court justices, really good Supreme Court justices, by the way.
You know, down ticket hundreds of
federal
district judges and
yeah.
everything else. Yeah.
So the Democrats got rid of that, and then they're like, oh, I don't know, maybe we don't want to get rid of this filibuster thing because we might be in the minority again. The filibuster protects the rights of the minority and makes people get together to negotiate. But as you'll see in this little video, the Democrats have kind of been on both sides of this.
Let us go no further down this road. I hope the Republican leader and I can, in the coming months, find a way to build a firewall around the legislative filibuster, which is the most important distinction between the Senate and the House.
When you were in the minority, you joined plenty of efforts to filibuster legislation.
The big difference is that we were always willing to negotiate in a bipartisan way. Mitch McConnell isn't.
Why would you not think this is the beginning of the end for the filibuster?
We cannot fail on key things to our democracy like S1, and everything's on the table.
No, I'm not crazy about getting rid of the filibuster. At the end of the day, we have to end the filibuster. It is just unfair and undemocratic for a minority of the Senate to prevent what the majority of people want in this country, in the House and in the Senate.
Everybody I've talked to believe that the legislative filibuster should stay there, and I will personally resist efforts to get rid of it.
I think the filibuster is going to be a defining debate for our party, whether we want to start delivering real results. We need to deliver on the demands, not of Democrats, but of Americans who want to see their government function.
I strongly oppose the filibuster, especially the abuse of the filibuster. It's not so much the use, it's really the abuse that was the trademark of Republicans in the last session, will still in that session. But I would use, as Senator Murphy just said, every tool at our disposal. The rules are the rules. I've stated repeatedly, literally for 10 years that I've been in the United States Senate, that I advocate abolishing the filibuster or drastically reforming it.
I'm committed to never voting to change the legislative filibuster. I'm not ready to get rid of the filibuster yet. But frankly, Joy, we have to make progress, and we have to deliver on the results the American people are looking for.
What about that nuclear option, doing away with the filibuster?
Well, I can tell you that would be the end of the Senate as it was originally devised and created going back to our founding fathers.
Does it mean you should get rid of the filibuster?
Well, we should obviously take a look at it. If it's going to stop essential business for the United States Senate, we have to reevaluate it.
Hey! I don't know what that thing on the end was.
That was an ad. Surprising to see that from the Washington Post, honestly.
I know. Crazy, right? So, you know, They've been on both sides of it. It's always different when they want to use the filibuster because they're using it for the right purposes. Republicans are always using it for the wrong purposes.
Well, it's something that I've always said about the Democrats, that they're kind of ruthless politically.
They are.
They'll do whatever it takes to get the agenda done. I mean, it's short-sighted, and they're not, looking long-term that it's going to come back to bite them in the ass, like you said. But they will. They'll spin the words however they need to. They'll change the rules however they need to in order to get the agenda rammed through. So
that's the filibuster. Then you got the overall government shutdown. Chuck Schumer has historically been against government shutdowns, but like everything else, this one is different.
This is the type of thing you've said about shutdowns in the past. Let's listen.
What if I persuaded my caucus to say I'm going to shut the government down? I'm going to not pay our bills unless I get my way. It's a politics of idiocy, of confrontation, of paralysis. Shutting down government over a policy difference is self-defeating. We can never hold American workers hostage again. While the CR bill is very bad, the potential for a shutdown has consequences for America that are much, much worse. Therefore, I will vote to keep the government open and not shut it down.
That was you 3 times in the past. Go ahead. What's different this time?
Yeah, that was in March, John, before they had done these horrible things to health care, before they had introduced these rescissions which would allow them to ignore the budget process. When I was majority leader, we had 13 times to vote on a budget. Do you know why there was no shutdown? We sat and negotiated with the Republicans every time. They got some things, we got some things. They did not negotiate at all. Now that they've seen they can't bludgeon us, they can't roll us, hopefully they're going to sit down and negotiate.
Yeah. Well, here's the difference in all this. Trump's playing chess and they're still playing checkers, right? We are still, I looked this up because I heard Gary and Eric say some ungodly number like 54%. I don't think 54% is the right number. We are still spending 23.8% more for our federal government than we were before COVID.
That's wild.
They said it was 54, and I saw that number is out there, but it's been debunked. Most people agree that it's 23.8% more for our federal government than we were before COVID, because Democrats love a crisis. They lock in even more spending, and Trump is trying to shed it. That's what the big, beautiful bill is all about. So where this will really hurt them, I think, is they have shut down the government. Make no mistake, they are shutting down the government. If we got cloture overcome as far as the filibuster goes, and the CR was passed, there would be no change right now. What they're trying to do is, as Chuck Schumer just said, they're trying to take this money that was cut because of the big, beautiful bill, and they're trying to stick it back in. Where does that get us? What was the point of the big, beautiful bill if they're just going to take stuff that's been cut and put it back in? It makes no sense.
Yeah. What is the stuff that they're trying to put back in?
Well, they say it's about health care, right? Mm-hmm. And what the Republicans will tell you is it's about health care for illegals, right? Yeah, they took all that stuff out in the big, beautiful bill, and Democrats would just love to put all that back in.
Yeah.
That's what the big issue is here. And what Republicans want to say is, let's just pass a CR so that we can get past this hurdle in the budget. Then let's keep talking and let's come back and revisit it again. And the Democrats have basically staked their flag here on the end of the fiscal year that they are not going to get past the filibuster. Therefore, the government will shut down. If the Republicans had their way, the government would be open today, just like it was on September the 30th.
Here's Maxine Waters regarding that point that you just made about health care.
But aren't Democrats demanding health care for illegal aliens?
Democrats are demanding health care for everybody.
Yeah, stop and post it right there, because she just said the quiet part out loud. Mm-hmm. They want it for everybody who's in the country.
Yeah. This side angle, really not flattering, by the way. She should probably face the camera.
Yeah.
Save lives. We want to make sure that health care is available to those who would die, but having the help of their government.
God, you're good with the government shutdown, even if it means giving health care to people who aren't American citizens.
Well, you keep that's what you're pushing on. What you're trying to do is you're standing here and you're trying to make me say that somehow we're going to put non-citizens over Americans. Quit it. Stop it. This is the kind of journalism we don't need.
No, I'm just
You're divisive.
questions.
No, you're not.
Yeah, no, that's
you're being divisive. No,
No,
please. You don't need to ask that question. You're just trying to get controversy here. You're not going to get it from me. We want to save health care for all people. Thank you.
All people of the earth, right? Every other country on earth, we should be paying for their health care.
Yeah, let's send Medicare bills to Guatemala or whatever.
And let me give you a prescription for never having a government shutdown again. Because one of the things that most people don't know is that members of Congress still get paid during a government shutdown.
Yeah.
They're exempt.
Yeah.
They're exempt from a lot of things. They're exempt from not being paid during a government shutdown. So let's put them at the same level that everybody else who's not getting paid right now, and you'd fix this really fast.
Yep. Or even better, start, deducting money from their paycheck.
Yeah.
I mean,
don't give them a paycheck.
Yeah.
Congresswoman Kat Kamek, do you know her at all? She's a Republican out of Florida. And she might well be my new hero because she sent a letter to whoever does payroll for Congress and said, withhold my paycheck until this is all said and done. I think she's a bright star in the Republican Party.
Hey guys, Congresswoman Kamek here at our nation's Capitol, here on the steps of the Capitol. It's about 9:30 Tuesday. The Senate just voted and it failed. No clean CR, which a clean CR just means you keep the spending level flat. Not a big fan of CRs. The alternative was worse. Actually, a bill that included a bunch of earmarks and all kinds of crazy stuff. So that was really the only option that we were given. But here we are. CR passed the House. We, the House members, did our job. But then Senate Democrats decided, no, they wanted a whole shitload of things, including $1.5 trillion. They wanted to strip $50 billion out of rural health care. And the most incredible thing that we heard was they wanted free health care for illegals. So, we're not going to do that. We're not doing that. Absolutely not. And so, because there has been no agreement, here's what is happening at midnight. The government will shut down. Now, in a government shutdown, there's a couple things that happen. Agencies go to a essential versus non-essential. And so if you look at like the Department of Education, they've classified 88% of their workforce as non-essential. In my office, everyone is 100% essential. If there is a single person in my team that is not essential, they don't belong in the team. So at this point, you start looking at all of these government agencies that are laying people off, furloughing them. It gets really ridiculous, and you start asking, are these people really necessary to function effectively? And so that's one thing. The other thing is once they're furloughed, right? Typically in years past, when we've had these situations, they have actually gotten back pay. So it ends up being almost like a vacation of sorts. I don't want to call it a vacation because it's not fun, but it's kind of crazy. So everyone kind of hums and haws and moans and gets all worked up, but then everyone gets paid at the end. So it's just kind of a bit of sleight of hand and more nonsense coming out of Washington. The other thing is that there's a big lie that always is perpetuated that Social Security will not be going out the door. I get a ton of calls from seniors and folks saying, I am worried about my Social Security. Do not worry, because Social Security is classified as mandatory spending. So it's not even a part of any of the spending fight that we're having. So in years past, I've watched as people have used it as a political football to create this fear. And that's just not right. Republicans and Democrats have done that, and it's time to call it out. Social Security is not touched in a government shutdown. So please help me spread the word that Social Security checks, people on fixed incomes, all that's still going out the door. In our office, we will be posting all of the services that are still operational versus those that are not in a shutdown.
Yeah. So, I mean, she's making some really good points there.
I didn't know that thing about the furlough that they get back pay.
Oh, yeah. They always get back. This thing is just a charade, is all it is.
It is a charade. And, maybe there should be actually some skin in the game. Like, she made that point about Social Security. Why not include Social Security in a government shutdown? You know what I mean? Like, if there's going to be actual consequences,
that would end it fast.
Yeah, if there's going to be this big deal, it's like, well, the checks are still coming in the mail.
Yeah.
So what are we even talking about?
Well, what we're talking about is non-essential employees, as she said, are furloughed at this point. And where I say that Trump is playing chess and not checkers, what he may well do, he may well fire those people because he's the executive. And the Supreme Court, you've seen in some of the cases, they're telling him, you're the executive, you're the CEO of the executive branch, which is how the Constitution is written anyway. So he's taking that, at face value, and you watch here. During this shutdown, he might just fire a lot of people, and that may bring the Democrats back and go, oh shit, we can't go any further than this.
Mr. Tough Guy.
So, I shouldn't do this, and my wife called me out on it. There's a news guy in town who I've known for a long time. I know he's liberal, but he posted something blaming the Republicans for the shutdown. Now, he's a news guy, and all I wanted to do, and when we go into those areas, do you ever do that? Do you get on somebody's Facebook page who's a liberal and try and make a point?
I've been doing it way less because I've realized that it's not for them, it's for me.
Yeah.
I'm fulfilling my own ego and my own pride by doing it.
Yeah.
And I mean, is there a chance that somebody else could see it and be swayed or whatever?
Right.
Maybe, but that just never happens. And
I just tried to correct him. Yeah. And I said, have you heard of the word filibuster? And, then I got this just voluminous thing about how horrible I am.
Right.
And I tried to point out that if Democrats weren't using the filibuster right now, we could have a clean CR, which is all the Republicans have asked for. Then we could keep fighting about spending down the road. And then all of a sudden, all of his friends jump in, and they're calling me every name in the book. I support a pedo. Right? I mean, that's one of their big go-tos because, I'm obviously in the bag for Trump because I'm a conservative.
Oh, that's who it is. Okay.
Yeah. They're calling, you know that. They're like, release the Epstein files, blah, 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 blah. All this bullshit that has nothing to do with the point that I was trying to make. And my wife gets on there and goes, you're busted. Stop going on liberal pages and fighting with these people.
Yeah.
So
I hate to say it, but I think she's right.
No, she's always right. So it goes a little deeper than that, and this is something that kind of pissed me off on the way over here because somebody in the office the person who gets the complaint emails, I'm going to stop using names on the podcast because people get really butthurt when I do it.
Yep.
So, but the person who deals with the complaint department at the radio station said something about keep your Charlie Kirk opinions to yourself. I'm never listening again. I'm sick of getting these, blah, 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 blah. And I went back. It was the promo that you put on for the podcast. I'm like, well, what did I say that was wrong? I said that, in honor of Charlie Kirk, we were going to continue to have people on the podcast who don't see the world the way that I do so that we can continue a civil conversation about things that we disagree on. What the hell is wrong with that?
Yeah, it's a great question.
And then when I get back is, you support a pedo and blah, 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 blah. And it's just unhinged TDS.
Yeah, it is unhinged. And it's sad, really, more than anything. I don't know. I think we just need to pray for these people because there's clearly, I mean, I don't want to say, demonic or whatever, but there's clearly like some kind of ideological possession happening, and it happens on the right too. It's not unique to one side, for sure. I mean, there's Trump derangement syndrome on both sides. There's primarily the people who are crazy about him and he's Hitler and all this stuff, but there's also people that he can't do anything wrong, and everything he does is like
and they're
the new
wrong
best
too.
Thing. And so we just have to really keep our ideology in check, and it's something that social media amplifies, and it pours gasoline on the fire of ideology and division and all these things, and it's just not healthy.
But I only reached out to this guy because we've been friends for a long time. He's a news guy in Kansas City, and I've known him for a long time, and I thought that was fairly safe ground that I wouldn't get the blowback that I got out of it.
Yeah.
But this just gets to the point that the media is right there too. I mean, they've got TDS as bad as anybody else. And one thing I throw back at them, and we've said it on the podcast before, we don't love Donald Trump as much as you hate him.
Correct. 100%. Yeah.
So should we be surprised at the abuse when our actual news wire puts out news like what I want you to show now? I was going to do it last week and I forgot about it. Do you have that thing from the podcast page? I just put up a story, and
yeah, I'll find it.
I want you to read it in your newsman voice. Okay.
Oh boy.
And the other thing that the wire service does, and this is something that's almost become comical to me, when Donald Trump is president, as he is now.
What is it about?
What now?
The
story that you're looking for.
Yeah.
It's a piece of wire copy that I put on the podcast page. It'll be very obvious when you get there. Just it's a picture.
Okay.
All right. So when the markets open at 8:30 Central Time, our wire service will post the opening on Wall Street. And what I've noticed is if they don't post the opening number until about 8:45 or later, it means it was good. Right? Wall Street opened higher, damn, that kind of an attitude. But if Wall Street opens and it's negative, they'll post it between 8:30 and 8:32. They just can't wait to get out there. It's like Wall Street sharply down. Yay! It's like they're rooting against us because Donald Trump's president.
You have a picture of the vote, the veto vote here. That's the most recent
that's
picture.
further down because it was last week.
Last week. Okay, gotcha.
You may have to go.
Yeah. I'll find it.
All right, you'll find it.
Yeah, here it is.
Okay.
Governor Pritzker.
Yeah.
Okay.
So my problem with the story is the last line. So if you read the story, you'll get to where I think it crosses the line between news and editorial. This is a news story. It's not editorial.
Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker is calling on all state agencies to make 4% cuts to their 2026 budget. He signed an executive order yesterday to make the spending plan reductions within 30 days. Pritzker added that the cuts are needed due to the impact of President Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill Act. Trump's legislation calls for tax breaks for billionaires and cuts to the SNAP program and Medicaid funding.
Okay, so it's fine through what Pritzker says. That last line is pure editorial. That's not news. We could debate that all day long. I mean, everybody got the tax break because the tax cuts were permanent from 2017. So I got a tax break. You pay federal taxes, you got a tax break. It's not what they're saying there. And you could also argue the second point as well. That is not news.
Right. Yeah, for sure. I mean, what else does the bill do, right? Is that the only thing that it does? Like they're editorializing by picking out one thing and then putting their spin on it. What else does the bill do? Does the bill increase funding for something else? Does the bill, whatever, change the color of a building or whatever the heck? I don't know.
I mean, I didn't go to a big journalism school like the University of Missouri. I'm there a lot now because my wife has season tickets for football, and I know that is one of the best journalism schools in the country. I didn't go to that. I kind of came up in radio my own way. But I know the difference between news and editorial.
Yeah.
And they don't.
I mean, what are sources that are unbiased, pure news?
C-SPAN, maybe?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, even that, I haven't watched C-SPAN in a while, but they still have, a little bit of editorial while they'll have, a panel discussion or whatever. So people are giving their opinions. I mean, so I don't really know if anyone is just presenting the facts unbiased. But this is a point that I've made before. It's not necessarily the problem that the news is biased. It's that the problem is that the news is biased and then says that it's not biased. It's the dishonesty that's the issue, not
that's
the
dishonest,
bias.
Absolutely.
Not the bias itself, in my opinion.
I'm going to say that when we do this podcast, we have our own bias.
For sure.
Yeah. But we're also willing to see the other side and not just throw out a bunch of, garbage at them. Mm-hmm. That's what I want to do. That's what I wanted to do with this podcast. It's like, let's get to the truth, whatever it is. And at the end of the day, we may not agree on it because I want a smaller government. Maybe somebody over here wants a really big government, a Mamdani-sized government, because he's probably going to win the mayor of New York.
Yeah.
And we'll see, because that's what our country's about. It's about experiments. It's like, okay, you're a really blue city over here. You want to elect a communist, and he's going to basically sock it to the rich in the worst way possible. Well, let's see how that works out. I have my own opinion on how that's going to work out, but I'm not, it's not my city, so
yeah, maybe it'll be great. You never know.
I doubt it, but we'll see how that's going to work out. And then where is decorum? Where is decorum? We used to be really nice to each other. Now we're just hateful to each other, and it's coming from our politicians on high. And maybe Donald Trump is part of the problem. Maybe his style is leading toward this. I don't think the Democrats can do it like Donald Trump. It's almost like when Rush Limbaugh was on the air. Nobody could do Limbaugh like Limbaugh could do him.
Right.
They tried and they failed. And I think part of that's going on here because Trump's really good at that sort of thing. It's not my thing. It's his thing. Nobody can be Donald Trump. And they're trying and they're failing miserably. Okay, so you got ICE agents who are doing their job. They are enforcing federal law. Okay, if you don't like the law, change the damn law. But Trump is actually enforcing the law and he's using ICE to get it done. So if you don't like the law, change the law. Don't go out in front of reporters and call ICE agents Gestapo and boot. What is it? Boot? I don't know what it was. Pritzker's on this clip, so he'll say it.
In Broadview, people nonviolently holding signs and chanting against brutality, expressing their First Amendment rights, have been regularly attacked with chemical agents like tear gas, pepper spray, rubber bullets, and flashbangs. Agents reportedly unholstered their guns and pointed them at protesters. In their own words, ICE intended to unleash, quote, a shit show in the Broadview community. Without provocation and acting like jackbooted thugs, ICE has attacked and detained members of the press, including an independent journalist. A CBS Chicago correspondent had chemical munitions fired at her car where there were no protesters in sight. And we have received many reports of U.S. citizens being detained for simply stepping onto the public street.
Yeah. Where's the proof? I mean, surely there's video of all this.
Yeah, I this is the first I'm hearing about it. I mean, if it is how he says it is, then that's terrible.
It is terrible.
But yeah, I definitely have to take that with a grain of salt. But
yeah,
that's not to say that it's not true. I just don't believe him.
Let's put body cams on the ICE agents.
Yeah.
Just like we're doing for cops now. We do that for cops to protect the cops because people like Pritzker will get out there and they'll say things that are patently untrue. So, I mean, if he could prove it, I'd love to see the video. He's just out there rattling off a bunch of baseless charges against ICE, who are American citizens who have that job, and they're performing that job to fix a problem that was created by Joe Biden.
Yeah, and they're getting attacked too. I mean, we have seen videos of people throwing bricks at cars, Molotov cocktails, like all this kind of stuff, attacking.
That's mostly peaceful protests.
That's true. Kurt. That's true. Yeah.
Why are they masked?
Well, the argument is that it's to protect their identity because they don't want to get doxxed.
And they were being doxxed.
I'd say congratulations.
Whoops, I accidentally pressed that.
They were being doxxed by Democrats, which is why because they've got families to protect as well. And they don't want drug lords, south of the border, finding their families. That's not what they signed up for. They signed up for getting illegals out of this country. And stop making the distinction between, again, Holman said they were going to do the worst first, and I get all that. But if you're here illegally, you have broken the law.
Right.
You need to go. And I'm sorry if they don't like that, but that's federal law. Federal law, if you want to change it, go through the process and get it changed. Good luck. I don't think you're going to be able to do that. There is one Democrat out there who is calling out his party for their rhetoric.
Absolutely unacceptable, terrible, awful. ICE agents are just doing their job, and I fully support that. And for me, and people in my party might want to abolish it or treat them as criminals or anything that's inappropriate and outrageous. ICE performs an important job for our nation.
Yeah, that's John Fetterman, senator from Pennsylvania. And I think he is positioning himself to be a power broker in the Senate. He's going to be that guy like Joe Manchin who's going to reach across the aisle and be able to pull some people together. So I like the way he handles that, and we'll see where it goes moving forward.
Yeah.
All right. So Clay Como Shooters, they are there to help you defend your family. Great company in Clay Como, thus the name Clay Como Shooters, 69 Highway in Clay Como. They're right between I-35 and I-435. You can reach them on the phone at 816-452-4867. A full-service firearms dealer. They buy guns. They've got experienced trainers because it's not just about buying a gun and having a gun in your house. You really need to be trained on it. If you want to effectively defend your family, you got to get the training that comes along with it. They have law enforcement background. They actually train law enforcement there at Clay Como Shooters. They've got an indoor shooting range, affordable pricing. They're not a big box store, a neighborhood business just looking out for the community. Protect yourself and your family. Find that right firearm and get trained on it. It could mean the difference between life and death for you. So get on that. I think we're talking about doing something that would be like a shooting competition at Clay Como Shooters. You ready for me to dust you again?
Probably. It's honestly, I have not been to the range in quite some time. So
I'm a novice at it. It's kind of like that guy who's never thrown a bowling ball and they roll a strike.
Yeah. We'll see if it happens twice. If lightning strikes twice, then we've got a real problem.
In all seriousness, get with these folks. Find a firearm that works for you to protect your family. Maybe it's a shotgun. Remember Joe Biden used to say, buy a shotgun.
Yeah, buy a shotgun.
Buy the shotgun.
Come on, shoot him in the leg.
That's
Come
it.
on.
I don't think Herb would go for that, if you're protecting your family.
No.
816-452-4867, again, 69 Highway in Clay Como. We got a big date coming up for those who are 65 or older or about to turn 65, and that is the Medicare annual enrollment period. It's coming up October 15th through December 7th. That is the period of time that's set aside for you to make changes in your Medicare annual enrollment. Are you in the right plan? Do you have the right part? Is there the right supplement that goes along with it? The guy who can help you navigate all of those waters is my friend Kirk Doris. He is at Medicare Simplified KC. You can find him on the web at MedicareSimplifiedKC.com. You can reach him on the phone at 816-701-6661. Important decisions are coming up. Are you on the right path? There have been changes because of the big, beautiful bill. And again, that may change your entire Medicare situation. If you are 65 or approaching 65, you're going to navigate these waters for the very first time. Wouldn't you love to have a guy by your side who has helped thousands of people just like you? It won't cost you anything. He gets paid by the insurance carriers. This is a way to prevent you from making mistakes that can cost you money and heartache. 816-701-6661. And remember the name. It's Medicare Simplified KC.com. All right, to the fun part. No more fat generals and admirals. Man, did you see this? Pete Hegseth and Donald Trump, they called together the generals and the admirals for a big meeting. And mainstream media, they would never have done this. Like World War II, FDR. If FDR had called all the generals together to the War Department, which it was called back then, nobody would have said a damn thing. If Joe Biden had called all the generals together for a meeting, no one would have said a damn thing. But because it's Donald Trump and because the media is what the media are, they found it suspicious.
You want me to play the Morning Joe clip first? Okay, here we go.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has ordered hundreds of top military leaders to gather at a Marine Corps base in Virginia next week. It's not clear why the meeting has been called. More than a dozen people familiar with the matter telling the Washington Post the directive was sent to nearly every top U.S. military commander around the world. That includes officials in conflict zones stationed throughout Europe, the Middle East, and the Asia-Pacific region. According to the Post, every source it spoke with said it could not recall a defense secretary ever ordering such a large gathering of military leaders on such short notice. Joining us now, retired U.S. Army Lieutenant General Mark Hertling and President Emeritus of the Council on Foreign Relations, Richard Haas. Good morning to you both. General, I'll start with you. First of all, how unusual is this in your experience, and what do you suspect is going on here?
Yeah, Willie, if this is usual and this is unusual, we're way out in terms of unusual in this one. It is never
that I know of ever occurred in the history of the military where everyone is brought in. Now, certainly during wartime, generals commanding in a theater are brought in individually with their team, or the president or the secretary of defense visits them at their theater of operation. But I've never seen anything like this before, and it just seems extremely bizarre and strange.
Well, General, let me just ask you strategically, how stupidly dangerous is this?
It's pretty dangerous, Joe. What I'd say is, a lot of people are looking at it from the general's perspective, them thinking, what the heck are we going to hear? Because I don't think from what I've talked to some of my colleagues that are still active, they don't know what this is about. So it could be about a shifting national security strategy. It could be cuts to the General Officer Corps. Secretary Hegseth has mentioned that several times. It could be about the upcoming budget stalemate, or it could be concerns over information leaks or press leaks.
But General, don't they have communication systems where they can do that so we can actually keep our generals and our admirals in the field where they are needed?
Certainly, Joe, and they're called secure video teleconferences. It is the same thing as a secure computer, not Snapchat, not Signals app. This is no kidding secure stuff. It's just like a SIPR computer. But the problem.
Yeah, I'm done listening to that guy. The bottom line is the president is the commander-in-chief of the military, and the civilian head of the military is the war secretary, not defense secretary. They've changed all that nomenclature back to what it used to be. We are no longer in a defensive posture. We are the War Department. Don't screw with us, right? They have restored the warrior ethos at the Pentagon, calling it what it is. It is the War Department. It was the War Department when it was established. It was the War Department until after World War II. And then they came in and they said, that just sounds so mean. We need to be the Defense Department.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say optically, it's not the best look for a president who's campaigned on no new wars to come in and just change everything to the War Department.
Peace through strength. I mean, that was Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan didn't want to get into any wars. He wanted to end it. He wanted to end the Cold War, and I think effectively he did. Trump doesn't want to be in any wars. He's trying to wind them down. He's trying to wind them down in Ukraine. He's definitely trying in the Middle East.
Well, he's also sent more military weapons to Ukraine. He said he would end the war in Ukraine on day one. He didn't. He sent more money. He sent more military equipment, like I said. And recently he told Zelensky, allegedly, that he can get all of his territory back. So, I mean, what's that about? Not to mention the thing with Israel and Gaza. I mean, he really hasn't put a stop to that. So I'm kind of disappointed on that front, if I'm being honest.
Well, it takes two. And I've said that before, too. It takes two. It takes the Russians. It takes Hamas. It takes, the people who are involved in these things. They've got to shut it down as well. And, maybe he was blowing too hard when he said he would do it on day one, because we don't control the world. But what we do control is us. And what he's saying about us is, we're no longer going to be the pansy asses at the Defense Department. We're going to be the warriors at the War Department. Something you should probably like is, they're going to remove the difference between men and women. There is a standard that you have to achieve if you want to be an active military fighter. Mm-hmm. And it's no longer like, well, you're a girl, so you only have to do this. And then you're going to be in the same theater that the guy next to you is going to be in. That never made any sense, right?
Yeah. I mean, when did we even start putting women in combat roles? How recently did that happen?
I have no idea. You'd have to look that up. Meanwhile, Pete Hegseth, in his speech to the generals, did not hold back.
This clip, right?
There's two of them.
No more. The first one is a duplicate of the morning Joe clip.
Damn it, anyway. I'm sorry I did that again.
Yeah.
Identity months, DEI offices.
I know what you're talking about, though.
In dresses. No more climate change worship. No more division, distraction, or gender delusions. No more debris. As I've said before, and will say again, we are done with that shit. No more.
Yeah. So no more DEI, no more identity months, no more stuff like that. And, he had the speech about no more fat generals, too.
Yeah, I'm going to find that.
I mean, in terms of like comparing it to a football team, can you imagine if an NFL team like the Kansas City Chiefs, right? I mean, what are they based on? They're based on winning football games with the best athletes at every position, right? What if they went through and said, "Now, you know what? We're going to change some of the names of stuff, and we're going to let some people on the team who probably shouldn't be on the team." They'd get killed, number one, in a football game. You just wouldn't see that. The military is exponentially more important than a football team. Exponentially.
For sure.
That is one of the things that's in the Constitution that the government is supposed to do, and that is protect us with an active military.
Here's that clip, by the way.
It all starts with physical fitness and appearance.
Sorry for this sound.
If the Secretary of War can do regular, hard PT, so can every member of our joint force. Frankly, it's tiring to look out at combat formations, or really any formation, and see fat troops. Likewise, it's completely unacceptable to see fat generals and admirals in the halls of the Pentagon and leading commands around the country and the world. It's a bad look. It is bad, and it's not who we are. So whether you're an airborne ranger or a chairborne ranger, a brand new private or a 4-star general, you need to meet the height and weight standards and pass your PT test.
Yeah, that audio is unbearable. But you know what I was thinking?
That makes the point, though.
Would be funny. They're calling like all these generals to wherever it is. What if like they're calling everybody there and it's just two poles that are like this far apart and they have to walk sideways in between the two poles, and if they can't fit, they're fired.
You could do it. But you know who really likes this? The military grunts that are joining the military. They want to join the military to be the very best that they can be. They're not joining the military for some PC culture.
Yeah. And leading by example is one of the best leadership strategies. You know what I mean? I mean, if you can't be in shape yourself, how can you expect your soldiers to be in shape?
I think I've told the story before. After I graduated from high school, before I got into college, I did take a meeting with a Marine recruiter. I was probably hungover. I was in my bathrobe in my apartment, and very politely, he said, we're looking for a few good men, and it's not you. And I get that. We all have our role in society. That's not going to be me. And I know the hateful side is out there saying, well, the commander-in-chief can't pass the physical. Probably not. But he's the civilian leader of the military.
And maybe he should.
You think he should?
I don't know. I mean, it would be nice to have presidents that are in shape and not 80 years old. I mean, can we just be honest about it?
Well, Barack Obama was probably the last in shape president that we had.
Yeah.
Oh, George W. Bush, he would jog a little bit.
Yeah, he was in shape enough to drown that cook off the coast of Martha's Vineyard or wherever it was. Allegedly. It's just a joke, people. It's a joke.
Just a joke. Limbaugh, I think, said it best. The military's sole purpose is to kill people and break things when necessary. That's it. I mean, that's what it's drawn up to do. And they have turned it into, the liberals have turned it into everything that it was never set up to be. And Pete Hegseth and Donald Trump are going through the Pentagon, and they are changing that. They are changing it back to what it is supposed to be and not worrying about being politically correct anymore.
Yep.
So that's where we're going now. Now, when a Democrat ultimately takes over again, they'll probably change it back to the Department of Defense, and there'll probably be all these exceptions in there, and DEI, and months for this and months for that. But right now what we have is we have record recruitment. If this were a bad idea, do you think we'd have record recruitment for the military right now? They were running away from the military under Joe Biden. They didn't want any part of it.
Yeah.
And now they want to be a part of it because it's what it's intended to do, and it will shape young minds and hearts, and we'll be a stronger country for it. That's my personal opinion. My personal opinion about insurance has never changed. It's been State Farm since I could drive. When I was 16, I had a State Farm agent. That was what my family was brought up. That was our insurance. And then when I moved to Connecticut for a radio job, Connecticut is the only state in the union that does not have State Farm agents. There's some rule they can't have State Farm agents in Connecticut. Connecticut has a lot of weird insurance rules. But they said, because you've been with us, your entire life, we're going to service you out of the corporate office in Connecticut. So that's how I had my insurance when I lived in Connecticut. When I moved to Kansas City 30 years ago, Bob Watson was the State Farm agent in Blue Springs. And it's like, okay, Bob Watson, you're the State Farm guy, you're my guy. And we have forged a 30-plus year relationship that has gone well beyond insurance. He was my stats guy when I did high school football the first time around. He's been there for me as my kids got their driver's license. He's there for me now as little Lord Fauntleroy got his driver's license, and he's driving now. Really has been a big part of our family. So when I say that Bob Watson's my insurance guy, he really is my insurance guy. And he wants to be yours. So get a rate quote from Bob at 816-229-7878. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is always going to be there with a team on your side. And the time to test whether you have the right insurance or not is when something goes wrong. When it goes wrong, Bob Watson is there for you. Bundle your home and car insurance. You'll save even more. State Farm can take care of your auto, home, life, commercial insurance. And Bob is licensed in both Missouri and Kansas. He's been a State Farm agent for 51 years. So reach out to Bob and let him help you out. Earlier in this episode, I was telling you that the Democrats are really trying to be Trump, and they can't. They try and they fail. They look ridiculous when they're Trump. Trump is a one-off. We've never had a president like him. We'll probably never have a president like him again. And he has a bizarre sense of humor. Have you seen this video that he put up on Twitter?
Yes.
It's an AI-generated thing, and Hakeem Jeffries is just really pissed.
There's two,
so
actually,
Schumer.
so we'll show both of them.
Okay.
This is the first one.
Look, guys, there's no way to sugarcoat it. Nobody likes Democrats anymore. We have no voters left because of all of our woke trans bullshit. Not even black people want to vote for us anymore. Even Latinos hate us. So we need new voters. And if we give all these illegal aliens free health care, we might be able to get them on our side so they can vote for us. They can't even speak English, so they won't realize we're just a bunch of woke pieces of shit, at least for a while, until they learn English and they realize they hate us too.
Yeah. So, and this is satire. It's a lost art. It's a lost art. It's satire. Yeah. And it's funny. Nobody thinks it's real.
Yeah.
Right?
So, no, I don't think so. So then Hakeem Jeffries got upset about that. And then in response, Trump posted this.
Bigotry will get you nowhere. We are fighting to protect the health care of the American people in the face of an unprecedented Republican assault. Bigotry will.
It's just so obnoxious, dude. It's like,
and I've seen a bunch of them too, like flinging off the mustache and the Mexican. Because the point that satire always makes a point, right? And the underlying point that it's making is Democrats are trying to get insurance for illegals, and they're trying to say, no, we're not. We're just trying to get insurance for Americans. Americans have insurance. It was the illegals were taken out in the big, beautiful bill, and that's what this fight is all about. How long will it go on? Who knows? Maybe it'll go on next week, and we'll talk about it again. Until next week, this is Dale Carter's America.
The views expressed on Dale Carter's America are Dale's and Kurt Wheeler's. They do not necessarily reflect the views of KFKF or Steel City Media. Comments can be sent to dalecartersamerica@gmail.com. Check back for weekly episodes. Subscribe, spread the word, and give us a 5-star review. Thanks for being a part of Dale Carter's America.